Hey guys, and welcome to The Gaming Droid and our first ever video. So guys, I like computer games, I love computer games, and I wanted to show you a couple of mine, or a couple of my favourites. So, my duties are to my family. Boom. Love the opening of this game, but I'm loyal only to myself. Sometimes you can say more with less, guys. Okay, so this is a game called Rogue Legacy, guys, and this is the starting sequence, the tutorial. So I've played through and actually completed this game, guys, and collecting this stuff in the tutorial is completely pointless. So we'll run past all the destructible objects. So what is Rogue Legacy, guys? Well, put simply, it's a 2D side-scrolling hack and slash with some slight differences to the general formula. First off, it's considered a Metroidvania roguelike hack and slash, but while it does have elements from Metroidvania style games and elements from Rogue style or roguelike games, not Rogue games but roguelike games, it's a little different, and I'll talk about that. But first, I have a duty to do, and that is to kill the king. This is actually an interesting starting, guys. It tells a lot of story without actually doing anything. First, we've got the overlay, which is kind of a old style film, historic style overlay, and we've got a lot of stuff in this room. We do get to see this room later, guys, but it's far down in the line, and the only way to get past this opening is to do as it says and kill the king. Die! Sorry about that, guys. So this is the opening screen of Rogue Legacy, and we start our legacy, and this is our first character. This is important, guys. Find out how much damage you do. This is very important. And we are Surly. Your first character is always Surly, guys. He always has 100 health, he always has 100 mana, and he always has daggers. And while you're outside the castle, you don't have to spend mana on spells. So you can practice with it. So what is Rogue Legacy? Rogue Legacy is a Metroidvania roguelike hack and slash according to most people. And while I agree that the level design is Metroidvania style, I don't agree that it's a Metroidvania game. My reasoning behind this, guys, is simply because while the levels are laid out like a Metroidvania, which basically means that instead of being a solid continuous world, so instead of being divided into levels, so it could be a divided into levels game like Sonic or Mario games, or it could be a continuous world game like Terraria or similar games to that, but instead it's divided into rooms, and side-scrolling rooms at that, and you move forwards and back, up, left, right through the rooms. So it gives it a Metroidvania style feel, this sort of side-scrolling, moving from room to room, even the jumping motion and things. What, in my opinion, divides it from normal Metroidvania games is the progression system, guys. The progression for this game is you can go anywhere you want from the start as long as you can kill the bad guys to get there, which is very different to normal Metroidvania games. Normal Metroidvania games very much limit you until you've gone deeper into the wherever you are and collected the ability to drop bombs, the ability to swing from a whip, the ability to jump twice, and things like this. And that's designed to give some sort of limited progression. Whereas this game, as long as I can kill things between me and that location, I can get anywhere I want. Now, yes, I will get double jump and things like that, but it won't be during this. And this is the thing that, in my opinion, stops it being, or makes it slightly different from your average roguelike. And that is the progression system. In your average roguelike, you start at 0 when you open the game. You get better or worse depending on your choices, and then once you've made all your choices and once you've gotten to the end of the game, or died, whichever one comes first, then all of your choices are wiped and you start from 0 again. this is kind of the opposite, guys. There's very little progression actually in the game. Very little progression in each rendition of the game. I don't get much stronger. There's not actually really many ways I can get stronger while playing. Instead, my progression comes after I finish the game. The progression system is very similar to tower defense style games, and I'll show you that later. Now, it is nice that you don't need double jump, or you don't need anything to get from room to room. All the rooms are accessible. Yes, you do need certain things to complete certain rooms, or to make completing certain rooms easy or possible, completing certain challenges, but you don't actually need anything to get from room to room. Ooh. Ah, die, you little sod. So, you don't have to pick anything thinking that, oh, I'm going to go to this area next, so I need double jump, or I need sprint. Instead, you can pick things based upon your playstyle, and also based upon the character you get. So, there's no way I'm completing this room and getting that chest, so there's no point even trying and losing the health. And this is the thing, guys, it says it's a randomly generated game, that the levels are randomly generated. Well, I dispute that, because while the rooms are randomly put together, there is a finite number of rooms, and you get to know the rooms. And actually, in my opinion, that doesn't detract from the game at all. Having it completely randomly generated where everything was just higgledy-piggledy would be a mess and be exceedingly hard for the game developers to actually make something fun. But because the rooms are preset, this, by the way, guys, is the passage to the next type of level, and I don't want to go through there because it's exceedingly nasty. The progression, or the rooms being preset, means that there's a development of skill, a degree of skill production, skill development, as you play through the game. You develop your skills to become better at the game, and that gives you a better chance of getting nice rewards and progressing. And part of that is just memorising rooms. And memorisation has gotten a bad rap in games in sort of modern games, but in my opinion, memorising levels, memorising rooms so that you're good at them isn't a bad thing. It's just something that happens. The other part of random generation, oh no, that's a gambling game, guys. I gamble a third, actually I've only got 600 gold. I'll gamble a third of my gold and see if I can triple it. Greetings, adventurer. I'm here to give you a chance of a lifetime. For the measly sum of 25% of your current gold, I will give you a chance to open one of 3 chests. One chest will triple what you pay, but the other 2 are empty. Go on then. Eeny, meeny, miny. Ippy dippy do. This one. Ah, nothing. Oh well. Now, what was I saying? Oh yes, the random generation comes in how they put the rooms together, and it also comes in what monsters are in the rooms, and also in your character, because your character is each time going to be one of 3, or later on if you pick the right skill, one of 6 randomly generated characters. And that actually gives you an awful lot of freedom in picking your type of character, but because it doesn't let you just say, oh, I want this character type, this class with these abilities and these benefits and things, it means that you have to pick rooms and equipment, and you have to use the progression system, the more flexible side of the progression system, to pick things that counteract the negatives of your character as much as you can, or that increase the positives of your character. Making you more able to progress through the dungeon successfully. So let's have a look, guys. So as you can see, we've got all the rooms divided up. I don't know why I missed that chest up there. Oh well. And we've got different symbols and things. This shows you where you're going and shows you your progression in each area. So what I'm trying to do at the moment is not actually complete anything or win anything, because I'm not going to be strong enough to, but to get as much gold as I can to make my character stronger next time I play. And that's kind of the opposite of a roguelike. No matter how well you play in a roguelike, your next character isn't going to be better. I mean, you can unlock new characters. For instance, in Binding of Isaac you can unlock Samson and other characters like that. Ooh, yay. Free statues. Always worth checking, guys. You might get free statues. And 100 gold for free. Always worth doing that, guys. But just be ready to get back out again quickly. So, you get new types of character like Samson and things when you're playing Binding of Isaac. You get new ships when you're playing FTL. There is a degree of progression. But it's very much a... You're still going to start at the beginning again. You just happen to have a slightly different character. This one, the progression system is very much more like what I would call a tower defense style progression system, or a... It's not quite RPG style. Like the old space fighter games, and like bullet hells, and an awful lot of flash games as well, have this progression system. No, not a chance. Have a progression system where it's designed to progress in between goes. Now with tower defences and things like that, there are different missions and you can replay old missions. This one is just the castle. But the progression system is between goes you get more powerful. Now in a tower defence, if you fail a mission, you go back to the screen, you buy some new abilities, you buy some new powers. Ow, idiot. And being more powerful the second time, you have a good chance of completing what you failed the first time. With this, it's very similar. You gain more power, and I want to complete these 2 extra rooms up here that you see next to the purple things, because this and the progression is slightly weird in this game as well for bad guy difficulty. What was it? Well, first I'll finish my first point. The progression system is very much like those systems in that if you fail, which you will, plenty of times because this game is out to kill you, instead of starting at level 0 like you would with a sort of normal roguelike, you start instead at, I don't know, whatever level you've reached, and you use what you got during your mission. Oh dear. You use what you got during your mission as an attempt to improve your character, like you'd, with a tower defense you'd buy new towers, you'd spend points to upgrade towers, things like that, and that would make you better. In this, you're trying to upgrade your heirs, your children. Ah, too early. Too late. This is, by the way, one of the most horrible things in the game. Yes. Sorry, I'm concentrating on this, guys. This is actually one of the things in the game that's very hard to complete. I've never actually completed this one. There are 2. There's this one, the daggers, and then there's an axe challenge where you have to completely destroy a large number of targets with axes. Not enough. Ah well, I got a little bit of gold from it. The progression system lets you keep everything you've got before, and you upgrade what else you've got. So you upgrade towers, or in this case you upgrade armour. Ah, that's why I didn't get that one. That one, guys, is impossible for me to get because I'm not a dwarf. You see this little discoloured bit of stone here? If I was a dwarf, I could pass through that. Now, strangely enough, not always. There seems to be a slight bug in the game where you can't pass through those sometimes. So what you're doing is you're trying to better your character, get your character as strong as you can, so that next time you kick butt. It's an interesting progression system, guys, especially for a we're going to kill you, manage your resources style roguelike. And this game is really all about resource management, both during runs and in between runs. It's all about getting the most you can out of what you've got. Boom. Haha, food. Oh. Yay, mana as well. So we're really kind of progressing now. We're getting quite a bit of gold. Nope. We're getting quite a bit of gold and we're sort of getting along. There's also no progression in weapons in this game. While your weapon gets more powerful, that's your slash, that's your down attack. And it'll be smaller if you're a dwarf, it'll be bigger if you're a giant, but that's how it goes, guys. Actually, I tell you what, I'll cheat slightly here to make this a bit quicker. And I've completed Castle Hampson now, guys. I've completed the castle, so now I'm going to move on to the second area, which is the forest. I'm not going to try the boss. There's no point trying the boss, he'll kill me. Oh, wrong way. I'm probably going to die very soon. 45 damage, guys. Ah, straight away. So there you go, guys, that's my first run with Sir Lee. I completed Castle Hampson. There's a list of all of my opponents. And this is, I'll just show you a little bit of the progression system, guys, and what I was talking about. First off, you have the random generation. So you have 3 characters to pick from. And this is actually quite a bad batch. Each character has a class, a spell, a gender, of course, lady or sir. Lady, and a sir. But the gender doesn't really do anything in the game that's actually applicable. It doesn't change your stats. So you have a class which changes your stats and changes your abilities. Later on, when you upgrade the classes, they each get their own special ability. You have traits which can either change the way the game plays dramatically or do absolutely nothing at all. This trait, Endomorph, means I knock enemies back. Oh no, sorry. I can't be knocked back by enemies, which means that I don't get knocked backwards, which can be an advantage, but can also be a disadvantage. It's a mixed bag. Blade Wall, guys, big sword appears in front of you. Quantum Translocator, teleport back and forth. This is great for getting through certain types of fairy chest room, guys. Really good for getting through certain kinds of fairy chest room. The Knave, risky low class hero, but it gets the ability to do critical strikes from the start. You can purchase that ability later for all your classes apart from the Shinobi, or the Hokage, which are the 2 types of Shinobi. The Axe, guys, very good spell. It's an arc up down spell, and it passes through walls, which is really good. It actually gives you access to certain fairy chest rooms later on. So I think I might go with this one. The Baldness, guys, is a trait that does nothing to the game other than remove the little red tuft of hair from the back of your helmet. Which is a nice little touch. And later on, that's the guy I played during the tutorial, and there is Sir Lee. And you notice he's called a Divine Knight, which means that he did rather well. So let's go for Sir Wallace, and I'll show you the progression system. This is the main progression system. This is like spending points into your stats in an RPG. These are often flat bonuses, or flat improvements, and while they are not as powerful as the improvements you can get from the Blacksmith, or the Smithy, which I will buy now, or the Enchantress, they are for the amount of gold they cost. So for instance, 10 hit points here cost 60 gold. I could get a better bonus than that by buying a saw, or buying a piece of armour, or buying the right piece of equipment for the same level of gold. However, these are permanent, and equipment you switch in and out. So when I buy my next piece of equipment, I lose the bonuses from my last piece of equipment and switch to my new piece of equipment, which means that in the end, if I buy lots and lots of bits of equipment, it ends up being more expensive. So let's increase our mansion a little bit. we'll have a road, and we'll have some nice new windows. I'll have a nice second window. That's an upgrade for my knight, turns it into a paladin so that he can block with his shield. Let's have a roof. This is equip up, it lets me carry more equipment, health and mana up. The architect, guys, he lets you lock your castle so that you can play the same layout of castle again. However, you don't get to reopen the same chests. So if you find a castle with lots and lots of chests in it, there's no point locking it down, guys, the chests will be gone. The enchantress, she buys runes. We'll talk about a little bit more about them in a moment. And as I said, these are permanent increases. Let's grab Barbarian up. A little bit more attack, and then we'll leave. So guys, these are the other two forms of progression. We have the blacksmith, and basically he wants me to go and find blueprints. I did find several blueprints. You always begin the blacksmith with the squire sword blueprint and the squire helmet blueprint, but you don't begin with the cloak blueprint or with this chest, the knight chest. So I found a couple of bits of equipment while I was in. Now these, for 250 gold, I get +7 to my attack. Now that would normally cost me 4 upgrades to my strength, which are over 100 each in the castle. And they increase the upgrades in strength, and the upgrades you get in your mansion increase in cost. All of them do whenever you buy anything. So if I buy an upgrade to my strength, the next upgrade to my health is more expensive. Whereas these are just flat costs. Now these give you bigger bonuses than a lot of the things in the mansion, but they can also be a bit specific, a bit particular. So basically, guys, this one, 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 this one are just flat upgrades in many ways. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're just flat upgrades. Sword for attack damage, helmets for health and mana, that for armor, that for magic attack, and that for a special property, which are the ones that differentiate from that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 thing. These ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, are a mix between upgrading your abilities and gaining special abilities. And that one is the ultimate ability, or the ultimate one, which is a upgrade to your stats and abilities. And we'll see that later as we progress. The enchantress, guys, asking me to find her powerful enchantments that have been stolen and locked into runes, are these. And these guys are, the cost doubles every time you buy one. So if I bought this one, the next cost would be doubled. And I did find one rune. I found Retaliation Rune, one of the most useless runes in the game, guys. Not worth putting your money into. You can have one rune equipped on each piece of armor. So if I bought, say I had my Vaulting Rune and my Sprint Rune on the same piece, if I bought both of them, I could only use one at a time. So there's no point buying a Sprinting Rune on my sword and a Vault Rune on my sword. So there's no point buying these two here if I haven't got anything equipped on my helmet and I have the same rune here. Now I'm going to go straight for Vault because it's one of the most useful ones and it helps me get more gold. And that's me equipped and ready to go into the castle. The architect, guys, as I said, locks down the castle. He takes a big portion of your gold, but if there are certain types of fairy room or certain types of boss monster that you want a specific character to fight with, or specific character to fight against that particular boss or go through that particular fairy room, or if you need specific runes, certain fairy chests require you to have a dash rune and a double jump rune. Certain of them require you to have other runes and other abilities. So you can lock down the tower and go and do those again. The last character that we meet, guys, is Charon. He will take all of my gold and I will go into the tower and likely die. Knaves are not very good, guys. As you can see, I have less health, less mana, despite the fact having spent money in both of them. And I do a little bit less damage, I think. Yes, I do 5 less damage, but I will occasionally critical hit things. So this is going to be not a particularly easy character to win with. Although my magic still does 25, I'll have to remember that. I love the dummy. Do you even lift? That tickled. That's all you got. Stop hitting me! Oh, so fun. But he's really important, guys. You learn what your sword and spells can do, and it lets you predict whether or not you're going to have to dodge. So let's get rid of this, and then I'll finish this video, and I will see you again in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you again next time.